Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 1st of December Common Council meeting. Happy holidays to everyone. I hope everyone had a very wonderful Thanksgiving. And we're going to get right down to business this evening. So, Madam Clerk, would you please read the adequate notice of compliance statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the City Clerk's Office in preparation of the Council Annual Meeting Notice dated December 16, 2024, which was properly distributed and posted per statutory requirements. Please be advised that fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room. The city has a listening system to assist the hearing impaired. If anyone needs the hearing assistance, please obtain the system at the dais and return it thereafter.
Thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Mr. Boyer?
Present.
Ms. Hamlet? Ms. Callinson?
Here.
Mr. Pulaski?
Here.
Mr. Smallwood?
Here.
Ms. Toth?
Here.
President McTiernan.
Present. All right, at this time, I'd like to call on our esteemed mayor, Elizabeth Fagan, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. All right, at this time, Madam Clerk, would you kindly please read the explanatory note regarding closed session hearings and comments?
A closed session meeting as authorized by state statute was announced and held prior to the start of this meeting, and the known items for discussion were listed on the published closed session agenda. Please be advised that council meetings are broadcast live on Comcast Channel 34 and 36 and Verizon Channel 30 and rebroadcast on Thursdays and Saturdays on HTTV on Comcast 36 and Verizon 33. When invited to speak, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and address, spell your last name, and speak into the podium microphone so that your comments can be understood by all and properly recorded. Whenever an audience or council member reads from a prepared statement, please give or email a copy to the city clerk at cityclerk@cityofsummit.org. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers shall limit their comments to 3 minutes. Unless you are using an electronic device to follow the meeting agenda or need it for professional emergency contact purposes, please turn it off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, at this time, do I have a motion to approve the regular and closed session minutes for meetings of November 17th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're on to our report section of our meeting. Madam Mayor, do you have a report for us today?
Always. I wouldn't disappoint you, Mike. Okay. Good evening, everyone. And first, I've heard a lot from residents over the last probably 2 years, but more recently, about dogs running off leash at Memorial Field and Tatlock Field and other kind of public areas. And I just want to remind everybody, we do have a leash law in Summit that requires dogs to be on a leash at all times unless they're on your private property or at a designated dog park. And while I am a massive dog lover, I know that dogs off leash can cause distress to other animals, other dogs, and children and adults who don't know or are fearful. So please follow the law so that everybody can be safe and enjoy our park safely. And yesterday, Chief Ryan Peters shared a statement about an uptick in burglary and car theft activity in surrounding towns. And we go through a report every Monday, and we've sort of started seeing some surrounding towns with activity. So we just wanted to remind everyone that packages left on your front steps are inviting to porch pirates. So make sure that you know when they're being delivered. Make sure that if you're away, that you have somebody remove those or move them into a more secure location. Make sure you lock your house. Make sure you lock your car doors. Make sure if you have a garage and you're able to park your car in the garage, do so. Keeps you warm anyway. Take your key fobs inside and use motion lights or cameras if you have them. And if you see anything, please call the police immediately. On to more fun things. We had a wonderful turnout on November 28th for our annual tree lighting on the Village Green. And I want to thank our DCP for organizing and our PAL for organizing an amazing event. We had a record number of attendees, and there were tons of activities for kids and families to enjoy. And I think that the PAL gave out over 500 cups of hot chocolate that day because it was a bit cold. So it was great. So thanks to everybody for making that a wonderful event. And then coming up on December 14th, we'll hold our annual menorah lighting, which is open to the public and is always a very special community event. And I hope to see many of you there. And finally, as many of us are out shopping and enjoying our downtown this season, please pay extra attention while driving and walking. Drivers, please slow down and watch for pedestrians. And pedestrians, please use the flashing beacons when they're available and make sure drivers see you before you cross. We just want everybody to be safe and to be able to enjoy Summit and what we have to offer here. So thank you. And lastly, congratulations to Officer John Sowers on his retirement. He is riding off into the sunset with his wife, who is also recently retired. So congratulations to him, and thank you, and I wish everybody a happy holiday season, and be safe.
Thank you very much. Great report as always. Ms. Baldwin, do you have a city administrator report this evening?
I do. Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. A few quick reminders about upcoming city events and services. First of all, our capital budget workshop will be held Wednesday, December 10th, a week from tomorrow, at 6:30 p.m. in the Janet Whitman Room upstairs. This is a really good opportunity to learn more about our long-term planning and our major projects that are coming up, and we do encourage residents to attend. We also have the Summit Free Market on Saturday, December 13th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the transfer station. This is a great time to clear out toys or household items you no longer use that could be useful to someone else. And while you're there, you could pick up a few new-to-you items as well. Please do note that this is the only Summit Free Market event in December. There is no Friday event this month. Finally, the good news, the rooftop level of the tier garage has been reviewed by an outside engineering firm and is open for resident and employee permit parking again. So that's great news. Come downtown. There's places to park, shop. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the upcoming events.
It's awesome. Thank you very, very much. That's great news about the parking deck, just in time for shopping season. All right, I have a couple of things just to report. As I've been doing the last 3 months, just to give people an update on where we are with our round 4. We continue to meet with developers and have, as well as with Fair Share Housing. I will say the meetings have been generally pretty productive. They're going well, but they're not over. We had a mediation session yesterday with one developer and laid things out, and we'll have a follow-up, and this is just part of the process. There are deadlines that are in place for the end of the year, so at some stage we do need to, come to agreements or agree to disagree, and this would then end up going to court. But like I said, we are making progress, so we're hopeful that we can come to agreements and have a, we like our plan. We'll probably have some adjustments to it, and it'll be a good plan for Summit to be proud of over the next 10 years. In addition, update on the firehouse. If you were paying attention to our last meeting, we made an announcement that we were marketing it and we are going out to sell it next week. I believe it's on Thursday the 8th. Is that right, Ms. Baldwin?
The 11th.
The 11th, I'm sorry, the 11th. Bids are due. We have a sealed bid competitive auction process in place. Our broker is Jones Langham LaSalle. You can find them on the internet. You can also look on our website for information if you're interested. So far, through our broker, we have seen several people interested in the site. So we're super, super excited about this. This has been on the docket to sell this property for several years. We've adjusted the zoning. We are out of the redevelopment business. We are going to sell this, and then a developer will use the zoning and put up what they can put up. And as Ms. Baldwin has mentioned on several occasions, we will use the money in reserve. We need the funds. It'll help offset debt payments and things like that, going all the way back to the fire station. So this is an important piece of business for the city. We're super excited to see what happens, and I'll be able to update everybody at our next meeting in December on how it goes. And that is my council president report. Okay, at this time we have our historical minute. I believe, Councilman Pulowski, we have a special guest
We do.
minute speaker.
We do. So tonight for our historic minute, we have a very handsome young man who looks just like his dad. And he's a junior at Summit High School, plays lacrosse, loves pizza, and he's going to tell us about pizza in Summit. Sam Pulowski.
Hi, my name is Sam. Summit has always had great pizza, from Rosa Sal's to Marco Polo to Village, Antonia's to Zappia's, Square to Village Trattoria, Pizza Vita to Brick Oven, everywhere in between, and every time, past and present, pizza is good in Summit. Today, young Hilltoppers are blessed with 4 spots uptown to grab a slice, but it hasn't always been that way. In the early mid-1980s, kids adventuring uptown could go to Luigi's, which was located across the street from St. Teresa's Memorial Hall on the same side of Morris Ave. With stand-up video games, it was a hot spot for the youth, and great pizza too. They could also stop at Sam's Pizza on Summit Ave near the corner of Bank Street. That too was a great place filled with children who had walked, biked, and skateboarded uptown to grab a slice and have a snack with friends. Sadly, Luigi's closed shop in mid-1985, and later that year, Sam's closed as well, reopening as a more upscale eatery on the Bank Street called Randazzo's. Randazzo's only sold whole pies, so where was a kid supposed to get a slice of pizza? To buy baseball cards and at Garden State News and Katz Newsstand, or to pursue vinyls at Scotty's Records. Not to worry, the Grassi family saved the day. When they opened Dory's Pizzas on Springfield Ave in 1986, their singular vision was to serve real pizza just like they had it in Italy. Nearly 40 years later, Dory's has built a long-standing reputation as serving one of the best pizzas in New Jersey, and it's the longest-standing pizza place and one of the longest-standing restaurants, for that matter, in Summit, New Jersey. The New York Times once featured them in the culinary section, commenting, "At last, pizza with the right crunch." I think we could all agree on that. And his son has told my dad just the other night, Mr. Grassi loved to serve our kids for decades. The establishment had a bar seating in the window so our kids could wave passersby as they enjoyed. Doria's still makes great pizza today with just the right crunch, and has won 3 generations of loyalty in my family. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
So may I, Council President?
Yes, please.
Little known fact that my parents owned a pizza place in Summit called Anthony's on Springfield Avenue across from the Little Kings for many years, and I used to sling some pizza slices myself.
That's awesome.
That was back in 1979.
I'm getting hungry. Yeah.
Nice job, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
I want to know if Sam was named after Sam's Pizza.
No, seem to have an affinity for it.
And what did he do to get voluntold? That's my other question. I said, what did he do to get voluntold?
He fought it a little bit.
It was very good. It was very good. All right. We're getting down into the business section of our meeting. We have a couple of ordinances for introduction this evening, 2 from Law and Labor and 1 from Safety and Health. At this time, Madam Clerk, will you please read Law and Labor number 12294?
Ordinance amending the code, Chapter 12, Parks, Public Areas, Recreational Facilities, to add a new section, 12-7, Tatlock Sports Complex Athletic Facilities.
Thank you so much. Councilman Pulowski.
Thank you. This is ordinance number 12294. It's a long-awaited ordinance. We have spent lots of time speaking with residents in various settings, group meetings, town halls, council meetings, planning board meetings, to try to come up with the best lighting usage plan for the lights that we're going to be, the field lights that we're going to be putting up at the Tatlock Sports Complex, hopefully this spring. So just note a few things about this ordinance. A lot of the feedback that we got had to do with when and under what circumstances the lights can be used. But also a lot of the feedback was about improving parking, improving traffic measures. And because this ordinance is about light usage, those non-light usage aspects of our conversations are not actually a part of the ordinance. We had it in there in an earlier draft, but our council advised that we couldn't mix that in. So, and maybe those portions aren't appropriate for an ordinance anyway. But I did put those, we did put those in the preamble in all these whereas clauses. And after a long conversation I had with Councilmember-elect Landman this week, I decided that I'm going to propose an ordinance at the next meeting to kind of codify all those measures that we're going to take. And some of them, for example, are to have post-game reviews and various kinds of reports. Hopefully, we'll get the Tatlock Committee up and running again to continue to address ancillary issues surrounding Tatlock and, of course, safety and community programs. The council committees for those two will continue to address those and try to make improvements as well. As far as the actual light ordinance goes, we have sort of divided up the parameters in terms of youth practices, high school practices, youth games, and high school games. Couple of broad strokes here. High school practices have always been during the day, and they will continue to be during the day. We're not going to have scheduled practices under the lights, with one exception, which is maybe in the case of extreme heat, if the high school trainers recommend moving a practice to the evening when it's a little cooler, that may happen at some point in time. We had talked about when practices should end if they're under the lights, and 9:30 was the time that most of the sports teams wanted. And they wanted that because, considering the fact that the high school practices after school, and those fields generally aren't available until around 6 o'clock, the first practice that could be scheduled there would be at 6. They typically run an hour and a half, and that would have allowed for a little bit of a buffer before 9:30. However, we got recommendations from the planning board, and the Tatlock residents had pushed us to end practices a little earlier than that. And so right now, this ordinance has youth practices ending at 9 o'clock with lights to go out 15 minutes later. As for youth games, all youth games are scheduled to end by 9 o'clock, or are to be scheduled to end by 9 o'clock. We do have a provision in there that they can go a little bit later. Sometimes there might be an injury or a rain delay, but all youth games will have a hard stop at 9:30 with the lights to go out within 15 minutes after. We've provided that where high school games go into dark, games that were scheduled during the day. Sometimes JV games go a little long and they have to cut their games short in order to get them done before dark. We'll allow the lights to come on under those circumstances to go off, again, 15 minutes after the game ends. We also put, and I'm not going to go through every single provision of this, but in terms of varsity games, when we had our town hall, we talked about having it be 8 to 14 games. Now, where did those numbers come from? Well, we wanted to, and we thought it was important to be equitable in who could use the lights from the high school. And we have high school football, we have boys and girls soccer, we have field hockey, we have boys and girls lacrosse, and we also have girls flag football. So we wanted to give each of them an opportunity. And speaking with the athletic director and Scott Huff, the superintendent of schools, they're very excited about the prospect of giving these kids a chance to, it'll probably mostly be their senior night when they honor their seniors, to have some night games. So, but instead of 8 to 14, we rounded it to up to 10 games. And that's going to be at the discretion of the Board of Ed and the high school sports. Those games are also to be scheduled to end by 9 o'clock, but can run to their completion. So if you have an overtime situation. For the high school games, the varsity games that are scheduled at night, there won't be any junior varsity or freshman games scheduled to play at night. The lights are to go off a half an hour after the game. We need to give them a little more time because they have more to get off the field after a game. Playoff games can go longer, and because there are a lot of times film crews and interviews after the game, we're giving them a reasonable chance to get off the field without turning the lights out on them. In terms of some of the miscellaneous things that we have in here, there's going to be no practices or games scheduled under the lights certain times of year. What we have is between the Tuesday after Memorial Day until the Thursday after Labor Day, there's going to be no scheduled activity on those fields at night, with the one exception that I mentioned before. In the case of extreme heat, maybe football has 1 or 2 practices in August if it's necessary for the safety of the kids. There's also going to be no scheduled practices or games between December 15th and the last day in February, wherever that happens to fall in a particular year. So, again, we're going to put together a resolution to add some of the other requests that we had about reporting to the city, efforts to make improvement, and maybe even to have some meetings after the first couple of night games happen. I want to remind everybody that when we've talked about the lights at the town hall and at other meetings, and people hear the number 10 games, what a lot of people have in their heads are 10 football games, which are by far the most well-attended games that we have. It's not going to be like that for field hockey or the soccer teams. Maybe a big lacrosse game will be as well attended as a football game, but that's pretty much it. So in terms of a traffic impact, I'm optimistic that it's really just going to be 2 or 3 games a year where we have a full house at night down there. So with that, I move to introduce this ordinance.
Second.
All right, Madam Clerk, roll call,
Who
please.
seconded?
Councilwoman Toth.
Thank you. Mr. Boyer?
Aye.
Ms. Calmonson?
Nay.
Mr. Pulowski?
Aye.
Mr. Smallwood?
Aye.
Ms. Toth?
Aye.
President McTiernan?
Aye. All right, motion carries. Okay, we have a second law and labor. Madam Clerk, will you please read ID number 12295?
An ordinance amending Article 2, Meetings of the Common Council, Section 2-2, Council Meetings, subsection 2-2.2, Council Rules.
Thank you. Councilman Pulowski.
Thank you. This is ordinance ID number 12295. Some of you may wonder, why are we passing an ordinance for the council rules when every year in January we pass a resolution? The reason that we're doing that is if you ever look at our city code, which goes through E-Code 360, it hasn't been updated since 2018. Now, if you read what's on E-Code 360, you'll see there's a provision in there that the council rules are updated usually annually, and that any changes found in the annual resolution would take precedence over what's in the ordinance. However, for the benefit of the public who wants to quickly look up what the council rules are. If you were to do a Google search, it would take you straight to E-Code 360, and it wouldn't be 100% accurate. So we're committed to making our rules codified in the ordinance on an annual basis, or I think, Rosie, every 6 months we update any changes to the city code. So we're going to be more on top of that going forward. In terms of the changes to this ordinance, the only substantive changes include codifying the longstanding practice of this council to not have council comments after an ordinance is introduced, and you can find that at section 8I. And we also removed from the council rules the limitation on public comments at the end of the meeting that limited those comments for things that were not on the agenda. So if you want to speak during public comment, you can comment on an ordinance for introduction or a hearing that maybe you didn't make it in to the meeting in time to discuss during the actual hearing period so that you can have your voice heard. With that, I move to introduce this ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Boyer?
Aye.
And Ms. Calmenson?
Aye.
Mr. Pulowski?
Aye.
Mr. Smallwood?
Aye.
Ms. Toth?
Aye.
President McTiernan?
Aye. Motion carries. All right, we're moving on to an ordinance from Safety and Health. Madam Clerk, will you please read ordinance number ID 12303?
An ordinance amending the code, Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-8, Parking, subsection 7-8.7, Parking prohibited at all times on certain streets.
Thank you so much. Councilman Boyer.
Thank you, Council President. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish a new no parking on several streets whereby safety, visibility, and traffic flow have been ongoing concerns. These areas include portions of Bedford Road leading to Morris Avenue, Broad Street, from Ashwood to Park Ave, the east side of New England Avenue near Christ Church, and the south side of Weaver Street from the Summit High School exit to the driveway of 46 Weaver. I was so tempted to say south side of Chicago. These adjustments follow recommendations from our police department and our Department of Community Services and are intended to improve pedestrian safety. So with that, I respectfully submit this ordinance, number 12303, for introduction with the hearing date on December 16th.
Second.
All right, thank you so much. Roll call, please.
Mr. Boyer?
Aye.
Ms. Calmenson?
Aye.
Mr. Pulowski?
Aye.
Mr. Smallwood?
Aye.
Ms. Toth?
Aye.
President McTiernan?
Aye. All right, motion carries. Okay, moving along, we're to resolutions. We have a few this evening. First one is Community Programs and Parking Services. Councilman Smallwood.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 12282 to authorize exception to bidding in excess of $17,500 for parking pay-by-phone services, Park Mobile LLC. The city has utilized Park Mobile for pay-by-phone parking payments since 2012. Our current contract has expired and cannot be renewed under its existing terms. This new agreement will allow users to continue using the Park Mobile Pay app to pay for parking, with the option of up to 5 one-year extensions. Therefore, please approve the attached resolution authorizing the renewal of the new contract with Park Mobile. I move to approve this resolution.
Second.
All right, at this time, are there any members of the public who wish to comment on this resolution? Members of council? No? The only thing I would say is, technology is great. It works. I use it all the time. My one pet peeve, though, is we have free parking for under an hour in the DeForest lots, but it's really not free because you got to pay a service fee to Park Mobile. I know the economics of it makes sense, but it does drive me nuts because it costs is it 40 cents?
35.
35 cents. Still a bargain to use our downtown, but it does bother me when we advertise free parking and it kind of isn't. It's not us, we're not collecting it. It's a credit card transaction fee, I guess, right?
But if you use the kiosk, isn't it?
It's free.
Free? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm lazy.
You
Yeah.
gotta go to the kiosk, right?
Okay, so maybe I'll do that because I am cheap too.
Council President.
Councilman Smallwood.
Thank you. I do want to give Nicole, our Director, Sawicki, some props for this because she did negotiate the fact that we kept it at 35 cents. I believe they tried to move it up to 45 cents, 40. But she was able to keep it at 35 cents. Now, we could keep that 1 hour free if the city absorbed the 35 cents per transaction.
No, I know we don't do that, so it's expensive.
However, it is free if you do use the kiosk. But again, if you do want the convenience of using the Park Mobile, there is a transaction fee of 35 cents. So I'll leave that up to the future council to determine whether they want to pay the 35 cents and really make it free.
There you go. All right, any other comments? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to safety and health. Councilman Boyer.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 12299. As our esteemed mayor said, leading off today's meeting, congratulations to Officer Jonathan Sowers, who's served the city of Summit for 26 years. Whenever there is a police officer that retires, it is a joyous but sad occasion for the city of Summit, the residents. But I wish Officer Sowers a wonderful and happy retirement, and I truly thank him for all of his service to the residents and to the city of Summit. With that, I will be declaring a vacancy for Officer Sowers' position. So I move this for adoption.
Second.
All right, would anyone from the public like to comment on this resolution? Members of council?
You know, Council President, really quickly, I would just like to say, you know, this adds another young officer to the Summit Police Department, and kudos to our chief. Again, he's probably got the youngest police department in the state of New Jersey. But they, you know, when you see these officers out, you know, say hi, you know, and they love to talk. You know, they're so joyous being here. I was talking to one at the car wash the other day, you know. So I'm excited about, you know, still excited about the future of the police department. So thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're on to capital projects and community services. We have a couple for there. Councilman Boyer, number 1.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 12280. The Department of Community Services is seeking these services, which is the authorization for the New Jersey Transportation Planning Authority for fiscal year 2026, and it's called Complete Streets Technical Assistance Program. These services are to support the development of a bicycle network plan for key corridors in our community, including Springfield Avenue, Passaic Avenue, Morris Avenue, and River Road. This work will help us evaluate future opportunities for bike lanes, possibly, and related infrastructure, an important step in improving a multi-modal mobility, strengthening connections to schools and commercial districts, and also enhancing public safety. I move this for adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from the public for this resolution? Comments from council?
Council President, the only thing that I would say is, you know, it's always a pipe dream for bike lanes. You know, with our e-bike ordinance moving bikes and everything off the sidewalks, it's definitely needed. Whether or not the county would like bike lanes is debatable, but this makes it so we can at least start having that conversation. So, I'm excited about this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Yeah, I would just add, I know we have been looking at bike lanes for a long, long time. I was approached by it a lot my first go-around on council. And it's frustrating because a lot of our roads, from a physical perspective, just aren't wide enough to accommodate bike lanes. So it sounds like such an obvious thing, but when the road's built the way it's built, it's difficult. And I know Director Schrager can attest to that. I do think, though, this is awesome because maybe someone can come up with something different or some other way to look at it, build a better mousetrap, because it is worth continuing to search, because it is important. It's a safety thing. It's great for youth. It's great for adults to be able to move around our town in a safe way on a bicycle. It'd be great. So I'm excited about this resolution. I hope they can come up with some really creative, innovative ways and work with different levels of government to maybe start to add some of these things finally. So, okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, capital projects and community services, number 3, Councilman Boyer.
Thank you,
Number two,
Council.
maybe?
Oh, no, we did.
Number 2.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I just did the wrong thing. Sorry, we're on number 2. Apologize. Councilman Boyer.
Thank you, Council President. This is ID number 12287. This resolution authorizes the execution of 3 access agreements necessary to advance the Saltbrook Improvement Project, specifically the stream cleaning and bank stabilization near 70 through 722 Springfield Avenue. Earlier this year, if you recall, the council authorized the city to begin this work, which is being coordinated closely with Union County as they repair the collapsed county-owned pipe located within the same area. Because the Saltbrook runs entirely through private property at this location, the city requires temporary access agreements with the affected property owners to perform stabilization work. And those agreements will be covering 722 Springfield Avenue, 712 Springfield Avenue, and 70 to 710 Springfield Avenue. This has been reviewed by our city solicitor, and thank you to our city engineer, Aaron Schrager. This is a long time due, right? I'm happy that this is still in motion. We're not there yet. I'm curious to see how all of this is going to work out. Hopefully I'll run by there and see like the bulldozers going through these driveways. But I will say thank you to the residents for working with the city and agreeing to do this. Specifically the Smiths. If you know them, what a great family. We really appreciate that. That they're coming through for the city and making this happen. So with that, Council President, I move this for adoption.
Second.
Comments from the public? Comments from council? Councilman Smallwood.
Thank you, Council President. This is a long time coming, and as you can see, it's not just one resident that the city is helping here. We're helping the entire residents that live on the Springfield Avenue, along Springfield Avenue, on Springfield Avenue near the Saltbrook. This is just, I believe, in my opinion, the starting point of being able to fix a long-term problem that we're having at the Saltbrook. I did hear, I went to the dentist a month ago, and I don't know if you know Dr. Bleckner or not, but he actually gave me a story of how his theory of how it actually originally started was, I believe, the hotel, when they did some renovations decades ago, moved some of the water from a piping into the piping, the Union County pipe, rather than it going down straight into the Saltbrook. So I don't know whether that's true or not, but it might be worth looking into, which may have caused a lot more water coming out of that pipe, which possibly could have made it break. So, Director Schrager, maybe it's something you could look into. I can certainly put you in touch with Dr. Bleckner. You can get some details from him. But I think this is, certainly a long time coming, and, I'm hoping that the county will certainly assist. Are they actually going to fix the pipe while we're doing this?
Yes, through you, Council President. So the primary reason they can't fix the pipe yet is because there's nothing left of the bank for them to put the pipe there. They could put the pipe there, it'd be gone in the next rainstorm. So as we armor the bank, they will come in and fix the pipe. So that will be back in operations.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Other comments from council? Yeah, I would just also like to thank the residents who are, it's nice. It's neighbors helping neighbors. No one wants to have bulldozers go through their yard. But I think people are doing the right thing. So that's a really nice thing. So thank you for those people to do that. And this is a bigger project. That water goes all the way down, and I know New Providence has issues with the Saltbrook, et cetera. And this is the city's job to get this thing rolling, and then we'll pass this off to the county and to possibly the Army Corps of Engineers, I know, have been brought in around this. So it is a big project, and so this is the start. And I'm happy that we're going to at least kick this off and help stabilize that bank so these other entities can make the improvements. So, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're on to Capital Projects and Community Services number 3. Councilman Boyer.
Thank you, Council President. This is resolution ID number 12193. This resolution authorizes the City of Summit to enter into a shared service agreement with New Providence. We have been in this agreement for the past 14 years, and the arrangement has consistently provided reliable oversight of our sewer and wastewater operations and maintenance. The proposed agreement continues weekday and weekend inspections and maintains the Burroughs Road as a licensed operator and provides on-call and routine maintenance services. The annual cost for 2026 is not to exceed $157,596.81, with an additional not to exceed $65,000 for on-call services. Given the long-standing success of this partnership and its importance for regulatory compliance, especially with our DEP and infrastructure reliability, I respectfully submit this resolution for adoption.
Second.
Thank you. Would any member of the public like to comment on this resolution? Members of council.
Council President, really quickly, Director Schrager explained the importance of this. There is a C3 sewer operator license, which is really hard to get in the state of New Jersey. Not a lot of people have it. There may be some opportunity in the future to have this internally here in Summit if someone wishes to maybe go out for that important license. Although Director Schrager made a good point, they'll get it and then they'll leave because there's not a lot of people that have that license. So maybe we want to just continue with this shared service agreement. But this is a really important resolution here, and I don't know if you remember, maybe several months ago we had some issues with our water pipes and stuff like that, and it can cause a lot of damage. So that's it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you so much. Other comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. We have a few finance resolutions this evening. Councilwoman Toth, you want to take us out with number 1?
Okay, thank you, Council President. Beginning in November each year, the city can move funds between accounts, from those with a surplus to those facing a deficit. This allows us to pay our bills while keeping our budget balanced. We passed the first of these resolutions last month. Resolution 12300 is the second, moving a total of $109,401. We're moving funds from the fire department to the police department and from engineering to our telephone bill. There are some smaller transfers as well. I move to adopt this resolution by roll call vote.
Second.
All right, comments from the public? Any comments from council? All righty, roll call, please.
Mr. Boyer?
Aye.
Ms. Kalmanson?
Aye.
Mr. Pulaski?
Aye.
Mr. Smallwood?
Aye.
Ms. Toth?
Aye.
President McTiernan?
Aye. Motion carries. All right, finance number 2, Councilwoman Toth.
Thank you, Council President. Summit previously requested bids for maintaining and repairing its emergency generators. Only one bid was received, and the price is way out of line with what the city is prepared to pay. Resolution 12259 rejects that bid. The Department of Community Services will explore other ways to receive these services. I move to adopt this resolution.
I second.
Thank you so much. Would any member of the public like to comment on this resolution? Comments from council? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, finance number 3, Councilwoman Toth.
Thank you, Council President. Resolution 12274 authorizes the city to contract with the firm of DeFrancesco, Bateman, Kunzman, Davis, Lair, and Flaum PC to serve as tax appeal counsel for 2026. The firm has served Summit well for at least 6 years and is proposing to keep its fees the same for 2026. The total amount paid will not exceed $90,000 and is payable from our Tax Appeals Trust Fund. I moved to adopt this resolution.
I second.
All right, members of the public, would you like to comment? All right, members of council. I just have one question on this, Councilwoman Toth, or maybe Councilwoman Kamelson knows. This is, again, another professional service. We've had these for a few years. Are these people on our list for RFP at some stage?
For 2027, Council President.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. All right, other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving right along, finance number 4, Councilwoman Toth.
Thank you, Council President. Summit's 2025 contract with our city solicitor, Cleary, Giacobbe, Alfieri, Jacobs, LLC, is for a not-to-exceed amount of $250,000. Resolution 12291 adds $100,000 to that amount for a total not-to-exceed amount of $350,000. The overage is due primarily to labor and to Oprah issues. The city has funds available in its legal services accounts. I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
All right, comments from the public? Comments from council? All right, all in favor?
Council President.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Councilman Smallwood.
I would just say that, the majority of the cost of this is due to Oprah requests. I would caution obviously the open public record is there for a reason. But every time a resident or even a non-resident requests something from the city solicitor or the city clerk, every piece of the information that you get, the emails, which could be 1 page, could be 10, could be 25, 30 pages, our attorneys have to go through those. So I guess I would just caution the residents to think about, is this really important? Or is this something I could call and have a conversation with maybe one of the council members if you have a question about something? This really, truly is an expense that the city doesn't necessarily need to have if we had more dialogue with our residents. And I would encourage residents, call one of your council members, have a conversation, and if you need to have another conversation with one of the other council members, maybe it would save the city some money rather than just immediately doing an Oprah request.
Thank you.
Council President.
Just to clarify, the Oprah requests are one component. We also are involved in some different litigations that is probably the biggest driver. The thing with the Oprah requests that take the most time. Reviewing emails and things like that are not as time consuming. The most time consuming Oprah request is the police body cam footage. So when people request police body cam footage, you literally have to go through frame by frame and redact images. You have to have the software to be able to redact the images. But you're sitting there going frame by frame, and some of these body cams can be, a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and you're going frame by frame by frame. And it's something that you have a legal duty to protect people's privacy rights when they're involved with the police. And the reason you're doing it is because if you disclose something that's not, it could subject the city to a lot of liability. So that's something that I know we work closely with the police, but it's a arduous task for the police department, and you get an inordinate amount of Oprah requests.
Yeah. Yes, please, Chief.
Through you, Council President. So we are exploring, I reached out to some of my counterparts in the county and beyond. Some municipalities have drafted an ordinance with a fee schedule for that specific reason, because the body-worn camera and the MVRs are the main contributor for our Oprah requests, in that it just generates a lot of hours to review and redact. So I am getting copies of those from some other municipalities that have drafted those ordinances. Look to introduce that to safety, hopefully right after the new year, and then present it to you guys as well. And that should offset some of the costs, or, which it's not intended to do, inhibit certain people's requests because they just, they can't pay the fee. I think the League of Municipalities has approved 3 hours of overtime at a certain rate for every 1 hour of body-worn camera footage, as the city solicitor had said they have to go frame by frame. So 1 hour of footage could take up to 3 hours to redact. So we're actually legally able to charge a fee for that, present that fee up front, and then the requester can determine whether or not they want to pay the fee or just withdraw their Oprah request. So that's what we're looking to do.
The fee under case law, the fee is not the attorney's time. It's the most inexpensive person in the police department capable of making the review and redactions. The problem is that if you pick, a clerk to do it and they get it wrong, you could have huge liability. So what some places are doing, they're doing it that way, but then they're still having the attorney review the redactions to make sure that you're not missing one.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Oh, well, yeah, so I was going to say around this, right answer. I know I've seen, there's some news articles that have come out in Massachusetts where there's, and I noticed that they charge for this. So I wasn't sure whether that was a state-by-state law, because I have not heard of municipalities in New Jersey doing this, but it's good to know that they are.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly at safety, and I've solicited some of the other, my counterparts, like I said, other chiefs in the county to find out what they're doing. I'd say it's a mix, but I do think a lot of people are dealing with the same issues that we're dealing with, an excessive amount of Oprah requests in terms of body-worn camera footage. And oftentimes, believe it or not, it doesn't come from our residents. It comes from people who I believe are using it to, which you're not supposed to use Oprah for monetary gain on their end. Because if you post an interaction that is controversial by any means,
goes viral,
you get 1 million views, and guess what? YouTube's paying that person for that. And technically, that's not what Oprah's supposed to be intended for. So,
or it's also used as pre-litigation. So you'll see, different law firms will do an Oprah request if somebody comes to them, says, I was wrongfully arrested, they'll get the body cam footage and all. So you always are thinking when you're producing this stuff, especially when it involves law enforcement, or a lot of times it's couples that are going through a bitter divorce. So there's lots of different issues that you have to just be mindful of. Frankly, the best thing to do would be the state legislature change the law and give a special fee for body cam. Because look, watching that is so much harder than redacting emails and names.
And just to give you an example, we get Oprah requests where they'll go on, the Attorney General's website and see a list of our use of force interactions for an entire year. And Oprah, every body-worn camera footage for all of those incidents. You're talking it could be 10, 20, 30 incidents, multiple officers on scene, multiple body-worn cameras. Everything needs to be redacted and reviewed before release. So hopefully with this new introduction in 2026, we can mitigate some of that man hours and reduce the overall liability moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I hope that you can come to a good scale, because Oprah, it's there for a reason, and you don't want people who can't you know, who are using it properly to be deterred from that, but I think there is a lot of abuse in the system. And I know Oprah, the state legislature, aren't they immune from Oprah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of their
so
records.
they've passed laws that require municipalities to do all this stuff, and they don't have to. It's just, I mean, no, don't get me going. But, so that would be a good thing to maybe look at next year, so. All right, any other comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, finance number 5, Councilwoman Toth.
Oh, thank you, Council President. Resolution 12283 authorizes the city to enter into a contract with Acrisure to provide risk management services for 2026. The city issued a request for qualifications for risk management services and received 3 bids. Acrisure, which has served as the city's risk manager since 2018, submitted the bid demonstrating the most knowledge of the city's joint insurance fund structure, operations, and requirements. Acrisure is paid from that joint insurance fund. I move to adopt this resolution.
I second.
Thank you. Comments from the public? Comments from council? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, last finance resolution number 6, Councilwoman Toth.
Thank you, Council President. Per closed session discussion, Resolution 12296 authorizes a payout of accrued vacation and terminal leave to Gustavo Reyes, who is retiring from the Department of Public Works at the end of the year. This is permitted under the city's Personnel Policy and Procedures Manual. I move to adopt this resolution.
I second.
Comments from the public? Comments from council?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Boyer.
I would just, Gustavo Reyes, a longtime city employee, always a smile on his face, will give you the shirt off his back. He has served this city with distinction. I mean, he's another one that I wish an amazing retirement. You know, he deserves it. So, congratulations, Gustavo. I still think you're too young to retire, but you know, but congratulations, my brother.
All right, other comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All righty, we're on to our consent agenda. At this time, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, at this time, would any member of the public like to comment on any or multiple resolutions in the consent agenda?
Hi, Bonnie Morrison, Rotary Drive. I just wanted to ask about the performance bond for the Habitat project. As we all remember, there was damage caused by their construction, and the city paid to have it fixed, even though both the city and Habitat were liable under the settlement agreement. And I just wanted to confirm, now that we're giving them the performance bond back, does that mean that there was a resolution where they reimbursed the city for at least some of the expense that we all paid? So,
Thank you for your question. Councilman Boyer?
We're all
or,
pointing fingers.
Director Schrager, do you have, yeah, Director Schrager?
Yes, and to my knowledge, there's been no agreement or settlement outside of what took place, but we just have to highlight the performance bond is also just for the work that was physically on the plans, which they did complete satisfactorily, which is why it's recommending to be released at this time, so, yeah.
Thank you. Other comments from the public on anything on the consent agenda? All right, comments from council? All right.
Okay.
Yes, Councilwoman Toth.
Okay, then. Thank you, Council President. One small, one large. The small one, the shorter one. The 2025 election results were certified a few weeks ago. And I think we should welcome our incoming council members, Jacqueline Laceracina from Ward 1, Chantel Landman from Ward 2, and Dan Crisafulli at large to the 2026 Common Council. We look forward to working with them.
Councilwoman Toth, this is comments on the consent agenda.
Excuse me?
Comments
Oh,
on the
I'm so
consent
sorry.
agenda.
I am so sorry.
No,
I'm
don't be
way ahead
sorry.
of myself.
That's exciting news. I think
It
we're
is
all going
exciting.
to
I'm
comment.
so oh, thank you.
No.
Never mind.
I want to hear that again in a few minutes. All right, any other comments on the consent agenda? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? Motion carries. All right, at this time, we're on the public comment section of our meeting. Would anyone from the public like to make a comment on anything not on the agenda? I would just ask when you come to the dais, just to repeat what our Madam Clerk said earlier. Please state your name, your address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Fagan, Council President McTurnan, members of council. I'm Jim Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T, 38 Fairview Avenue. Councilwoman-elect Jacqueline LaSaracina has used social media to call on council to slow the sale of the old fire headquarters to ostensibly consider other options. I ask council to reject this call. All options have been exhaustively considered, and the time has come to sell the property and use the proceeds to amortize municipal debt. I was heartened to hear Council President mention that the bids are due next week and they're on their way in. The municipal budget is under pressure, and the priority is to develop the property within the overlay zone and put it on the tax rolls. One of the LaSaracina options, I understand, has been to put the property in the hands of a nonprofit. That is a bad idea. Depending upon the use, nonprofits don't contribute to the tax base. Another proposal is to have the entire development become affordable housing. This option was also vetted. No developer would buy the property under those conditions, and Councilman Boyer once expressed concerns about ghettoization. A false argument has been that making the project entirely affordable housing would head off a builder's remedy. This council has developed a balanced plan to address round 4 of the affordable housing mandate. The statutory procedure calls for the city to apply for a declaratory judgment in the Superior Court. Anyone, including builders, can file objections, and builders routinely do. The city is negotiating with 2 builders. I agree that in negotiation, as with litigation, one should not be reckless. However, being unduly timid is also not in the city's best interest. The city has chosen the right tactical approach in round 4, and there is no need to involve the old firehouse property beyond the contribution it would make otherwise. The process the city is following is transparent. So, reject the call to slow the sale and proceed expeditiously with selling the old firehouse property as planned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Other comments from the public?
Jacqueline LaSaracina. I'm a resident of Summit. I appreciate the introduction of sorts. I'd like to talk about the proposed sale of the old firehouse site. I do continue to have concerns about the process, and my main concern is kind of a basic one. When I was a junior associate and I was being taught about deal making, I was taught by a mentor, you always want the other side to believe that you're ready to walk away, right? That you're ready to not do the transaction in order to get the best deal. Here we have a very valuable community asset. We're so fortunate. This is an in-demand parcel, and we are in a position of strength, right, to get the very best deal for the community. But we've shown our cards a little bit, right, because there have been some public comments by some that we will absolutely do a sale of this parcel before the this term of the council is completed. So we've indicated that we're not willing to walk away from the deal. And even though we may get a bid at the floor that we've set of 4.6 million, we may not get the very best deal because, again, we've indicated that we're not prepared to walk away. The bidders may not come, in truth, with their best and final offer. So that is actually my concern that, again, this is a very valuable community asset. We want to make sure that we're conducting the very best process for the community. So again, I would urge the council, I know we're not under an obligation to accept any of the bids, and I would urge you to pause and really consider that option. I think we can expediently begin a fresh process where we would make sure that we are saying and doing all of the things that we reasonably can to get the very best result for the community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Other comments from the public? All right, I'm going to close public comments section of our meeting, and now we are on to council member comments and new business. Councilwoman Toth, why don't you take us out first?
Oh, don't you think you've heard enough from me
No,
in a row?
that was great. I want to hear it again.
Okay. Oh, no. Election's over, election certified. Okay, but I want to say, last week, I attended both the Interfaith Thanksgiving service and the Community Thanksgiving celebration, two gatherings that showed Summit at its best. People from different backgrounds, beliefs, and neighborhoods came together with mutual respect and a shared sense of responsibility for one another. And that spirit is what residents say they want most from us on this council. Collaboration, a willingness to rise above politics, and above all, civility. And civility is not just in what we say, but in what we do. Since the election 4 weeks ago, the outgoing council majority has used this lame duck period to rush through actions it knows the incoming council majority does not support. From renewing the city solicitor's contract, to introducing lighting regulations at Tatlock Field, to pushing a quick sale of the firehouse property. The outgoing council does this knowing their actions can and likely will be undone in January, wasting precious city resources, including residents' tax dollars and the time and effort of our city employees. This is not normal, and it is not how our community has handled transitions in the past. When Democrats first won a majority in 2017, and when Republicans reclaimed it in 2023, both outgoing councils respected the will of the voters and avoided major changes in the lame duck period, focusing on doing the city's business. That restraint honored Summit's long-standing norms and our residents as well. The current approach does not, and I'm so disappointed to see this departure from that tradition of good governance. I expected better. In January, the new council will begin the work voters elected us to do. But the decisions being rushed through now create unnecessary hurdles to that. Our constituents deserve a more responsible standard of behavior from their elected officials. We can disagree on policy, but I hope we can still agree to respecting the process and the people we serve. I encourage the outgoing council to pause, reflect, and choose a better path, one that respects our traditions and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from council?
Council President.
Councilman Boyer.
First, I'd like to talk about the League of Municipalities. I think I forgot to talk about that last time we had a council meeting. But before that, I would like to congratulate the new council that's coming in, Jacqueline Lasaracino. I'm going to pronounce your name correctly. I think I got it right. I've spoken to each member, either on the phone or through text, and those conversations have been great, right? And I think Councilman Pulaski would say the same thing. So I'm looking forward to working with them. And listen, I respect the process. I respect, the seesaw battle, right? Like, people vote, things change. That's the American way. That's how things work, and I respect that. So I'm looking forward to getting things done, and I think the incoming council members want to get things done. Back to the League of Municipalities. We met some very interesting people down at the League. The League actually is for you to go down and make connections so that you can bring back some things to the city that will help the city. And we met two people. One is Ciro Scarella. I hope I got Ciro's name right, but he is the head of the Local 55. They do various things for housing authorities around the state of New Jersey, and basically, they can do it a lot cheaper, right? So if you come back and someone says, yeah, this unit costs $175,000 to rehab, well, I think the Local 55 will take a look at that and say, you know what, our guys can do it for cheaper. So that's good. It's always good to have an option there. Secondly, I'm always looking to help our Summit Housing Authority and our residents there. And I met the Raritan, New Jersey mayor, who also works for a company that provides relief for utility bills. So he said, listen, if people are low income, I can come and people can sign up and we can provide literally relief for their utility services. If they can't pay it, if they can't pay their gas and electric and things like that. I mean, what a utility, right, to have that. So I'm looking forward to working with the Summit Housing Authority to have the Raritan mayor come in and provide those services. I think that's great. Secondly, Mr. Bennett, just to be clear, my belief is that there is no ghettoization at Summit because Summit doesn't have any ghettos, right? Like, that was my thing, right? You can build affordable housing at Summit, like Glenwood and Weaver Street and Dennis Place, and they're not ghettos, right? So we can do the 100% affordable housing thing, just not where the firehouse is at. And I will say that to Jacqueline, I get it, but once you get in the seat and once you hear what the city is dealing with and things of that nature, and other different options, because I know you want affordable housing, you may have a different opinion, and I'm happy that you're open to different opinions. So I'm happy about that. Last but not least, we had a Thanksgiving holiday celebration again at the senior building, which was absolutely amazing. I like to thank the Summit Masons for cooking, and Pilgrim Baptist Church for cooking the food and providing it, and all the folks who donated money for the event. And the last thing is, the mayor talked about it, and our police chief sent out some great detail about staying safe and keeping your packages safe. If you're having something delivered to your home, there's always an option for you to sign for it, right? That's a great option. There's little cubbies at 7-Eleven where you can have Amazon drop those things off so you can go and pick them up. So there's various different ways where you can reduce the opportunity. So I always think of crime being in three different things, right? Rationale, pressure, and opportunity. Well, we can't do anything about people in their mind committing crime, right? We can't do anything about the pressures of, people going out and stealing because it's Christmas time and, they need money, right? But what we can do is we can reduce the opportunity. And our police chief laid it out on Facebook and other medias about what steps that you can take to reduce the opportunity, key fobs and different things, right? And we need to do that. Lastly, we have a nice young police force, right? And they are out there and they're getting after it, And this is what the taxpayers paid for. Now, I'm not going to make the chief over there sweat and say, Boyer, don't be saying that we're going to like prevent all crime from happening. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that this is the stuff that our new chief, this stuff that we prepared for. And you as a community, residents, taxpayers, this is what you supported, the hiring of new police officers, so that we're prepared for this stuff, right? This is, this is where we want it to be with our police force. I hope that we have 100% come January. Cross fingers and make sure all the police are safe. But this is the good thing of why we hired more police officers, right? So that we can, when we see these upticks, we can do what we need to do to battle that. So I know that was a mouthful, but it wasn't as long as Councilman Pulaski introducing the Tadlockville light stuff. So.
I cut that down.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Boyer. Other comments from council? Councilman Smallwood.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple things. Ms. Laracina, there's a couple things. We've been going through this process for the last 2 years. It does take time, and as soon as you'll be as frustrated as I was when I first got on council, how long it takes things to get done. This is not the beginning. We're not trying to rush anything through. This is the final piece of what we've been working on for the last 2 years. In terms of deal making, Summit is a very desirable place to live. And I think if you look at any homes that are priced anywhere between $750,000 to $1.2 million, a lot of times there's multiple bids. And eventually it gets to the point where a lot of the homeowners will say, let's go to closed and final bids. And the people that are actually bidding on that home will actually bid higher because, okay, if the minimum is selling for $750,000, there's multiple bids at, $800,000, and then they go to close the final bid. Those last remaining bidders on that house have no idea what the other bidders are going to bid on, what bidder A, bidder C, A is going to do. So they typically will increase their offer in a closed bid. I don't think I've ever seen a process like this in an open bid. And Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, this does have to go through an auction process, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And we will certainly review those bids, and we're certainly going to take the highest bid that comes in, because we know that they have to, whatever they're going to develop there, that's the purpose of the overlay zone, so that we know what they can and cannot build. What goes in it is up to the developer. The city should not be in the development business, so they're going to buy the land and have to build within those parameters of the overlay zone. Claire, I reject your comment about, this council rushing through things in a lame duck session. I believe it's common for the current council at the end of the year to renegotiate the city solicitor's contract for the new year so that there is a city solicitor. And for you to say that, we're only wasting time because the new council next year is just going to undo everything that we just did. I mean, if that's the case, then you might as well just say every city employee, you're on notice because we may fire you next year. I found that a little rude, to be honest with you. That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Other comments from council? Councilman Pulaski.
So I also want to congratulate the council members-elect. I did reach out to them all. I talked to Chantal and to Dan. I didn't get to talk to Jackie yet, but I left her a message. I look forward to working with you guys. Second, on the Local 55, you forgot one thing that I think could be really great for some of our residents. When they come in to do work on housing developments, they also try to recruit employees. They will hire and train people and have them join the union. to learn a new trade if they're so interested. So if we're able to get them in here to do that. They also said that they would come in and do 1 or 2 units as a pilot at an even further discounted rate so that we can see, what it is that they have to offer and make a decision if we want to do a whole lot more. So I think those are a couple of exciting things that we learned at the league. As for the selling of the firehouse site, I looked for and I didn't find any empirical evidence that open bids realize a higher price than closed bids. I also think I heard Ms. Laceracina say that by accepting closed bids with parameters, we're indicating that we're not prepared to walk away, but then in the next breath say that I know we're not under any obligation to accept the bids. So in other words, we could walk away. So I'm not sure how you could reconcile those two things. As far as undoing lame duck measures because the new council may not want it, that may or may not be the case. I don't know if that's true or not. I also don't know if it's true that just because a newly elected council might not want something necessarily means that the residents, the majority of residents, don't want something. People donated a lot of money for lights down at Tatlock. Why? Because we have a field space issue and we need to improve availability for practices. I'm not so sure that the majority of residents don't want the ordinance that we introduced today. I don't know that a majority of the town wants to fire Matt Giacobbe. I don't think it's true. So, but, things will play out the way that they play out. We also were elected to do certain things. And as far as I know, the current council is elected to continue to work for the city through the end of 2025. And that's what we're doing here. So that's it.
Thank you. Other comments from council? Councilman Boyer, you got another one?
Just real quick, I wasn't going to say anything about it, but to just assume that the new council is going to come in and they're all going to be lockstep and vote, right? The same way, is, maybe right? Just sounds arrogant. But, and Bob, maybe we should just go home, right? Maybe there should just be, call it short, right? And then there's just 5 council people and we can just change the charter, right? Because what are we doing here then, right? If it's all set in stone and everything. But you know what? I think that there are some independent thinkers that are gonna come up here and maybe surprise someone that just thinks it's all said and done so vehemently, So, listen, and by the way, I like the process, right? The voting process, it's the American way. But also, we still have elected officials up here, and we still need to do city business, right? Just because somebody is elected, we don't take a break, right? If that was the case, once again, the new council will start in November, right after the election, right? There's some things that, just need to be practical, right? These council folks still have a job. Bob and I are still up here, right? And there's new council people coming in who may not want to vote lockstep with the new council president. So I will say that. And last but not least, to start off saying civility and then take 85,000 shots, right, is so hypocritical. We need civility, but by the way, shame on you. Come on, And I've heard unacceptable and all these other terms a lot lately. So maybe that may be the course of the future in January. I hope not. I hope we are civil. And I hope we just do the city business and not just being partisan, right? So, but thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Other comments from council? No, I'll just wrap it up. A couple things. I also want to congratulate the new council members, Dan, Jackie, and Chantel. I know you guys worked really, really hard to get elected, and we have, I think some people say it's not a perfect process how we run elections, but I still think it's the best process. It's been working for close to 250 years, and we have a great country and a great community as a result of that. So I'm excited for you guys to start. I wish you all the success. And again, you guys worked hard, and congratulations for that. As far as just to echo some things, look, my wife would like it if after the election I was done. She's like, what the heck are you doing? I spend 40 hours a week doing this job, and I get no pay for it. So I'm not going to come up here and not do anything. No one up here is working to not do anything. And there's important things that we need to do. I look at the sale of the firehouse property. This has been 2 years in the making. I would be incredibly disappointed if I ended my stint up here and that was unfinished business. I would think I was a failure because this has been on the docket for so long. And as I think Councilman Smallwood mentioned, things take time. And I've been yelled at by loads of people who have, ripped my head off on why this hasn't happened already. And, it's tough to explain. I look at getting this firehouse property sold as a gift to the incoming council, that this is business that we've cleared and done for the community and got much needed revenue in so we can have a good budget process. I know, Jackie, you ran on not raising taxes next year. I would love that. Please do not raise my taxes. If you do, I'm going to come in here and say, why did you raise my taxes? This will help you do that. This is something we need to do. And I'm really psyched that we got it all together at the end of the day and that we're going to have competitive bids, an auction process. As I said, we don't want to have some developer in a smoke-filled room telling us what this is worth. That was the problem we had with redevelopment. We got railroaded because developers they're experts. We're not developers. And to think that we were able to negotiate pari passu with these people was just foolery. Now we have developers bidding against themselves. They know what this is worth, and this is how we're going to maximize value for the taxpayer. With a zone that's hardened, it's not an overlay zone, it's hardened, that we've had lots of input, we've had loads of meetings at the planning board during the summer. This is not rushed. There's loads of input on what can go in that spot. And I'm psyched that we're going to get this thing sold and closed on. And that is, again, that whatever, hopefully millions of dollars will allow Tammy and the incoming council to have a much better and easier task, which is to do our budget process, which is going to be difficult to begin with. So I'm excited about that. As far as, again, working up to the end, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. I don't know how people are going to vote. All I know is we are up here to do a job, and we're going to do that. Around norms, I don't know what the norm is. Do I just not come in December? You got to come and do the work. And to speak of norms, the norm is we hire a city solicitor for a year. That's the norm. I don't know how you can say we're not following the norms, but then at the same breath say we're going to fire the city solicitor. And Claire, you can run the council whatever way you want. You said we're going to do things a new way. So, please, I don't need to be lectured about norms, if that's the case. Okay, so like I said, proud of what we're doing. We're up here for a reason, and we're going to do important business of the city until, when I'm not here, and I'm going to leave everything on the field because that's what we should be doing. So that's that. Last thing I want to say, we are entering into the holiday season. Holiday season is joyous. It's about being with friends and celebrating and reflecting on what hopefully has been a good year. Some people need to be reached out to and brought in, because this can also be a very lonely time for some people. So make an effort with your neighbors. Make an effort to invite them. Go say hi. It matters. It really does. But I would say, if you're out there and you're seeing friends and you're enjoying and maybe having some good cheer, take an Uber or a Lyft, please. Don't make our very good police force's job that much harder. It's dangerous. Get home safe. So enjoy the holiday season, but enjoy it responsibly. That is my comment.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Smallwood.
I won. Sorry. Me too. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, we are adjourned.
He took the